This is your new Fillmaster 5000. When you receive the machine, the main filler and the conveyor will be in two separate crates. In order to connect the two together, these air lines will be separated at the couplers. There's one color of each size, so all you have to do is match the colors together and the size and join them together in the coupler, and you'll be ready to run. The main air supply to the machine is located here. We keep it set normally at about 100 psi, or whatever your minimum house pressure or maximum house pressure is. There's a drain here to drain any condensation out of the air system. Turn that to drain the water out. In this position, the air is off to the machine. Whenever you're doing any servicing or changeover, part of the changeover, you need to have the air turned off. In order to, you can lock it out here if you want. Turn it on, all you have to do is turn that. Right now we're set for the smallest containers. The way we set this up, the first air cylinder, when it's fully extended, holds the jars directly under the fill nozzle. It stops them right there. Obviously you have to set your conveyor side rails to center it this way, and then in order to center your nozzles this way, you loosen these and you can move them apart or together. Usually try to keep the containers pretty much centered in the fill zone, and then when you snug them up, they'll stay there. When you're filling the small ones, what will happen, this air cylinder will release after you're done filling, and this one will extend. The jars will move down, and your two filled jars will be stopped by this air cylinder. And then when the machine is continuing to cycle, this air cylinder will retract and the first one will extend, and the conveyor will bring these jars down as they're indexing, and the filled jars will go on and the two that are being filled will stay there. In order to adjust your fill head up for the larger container, that's located down here. This is where you control your quantity of fill. Once you have it set, it's a good idea to have it written down somewhere so you know what number to set to for each size container. If somebody should happen to turn this knob and knock the numbers out of position, in order to reset it, dump the air off the machine, crank this all the way in, as far as it'll go. And reset to 0. and that'll put you back in position. So like I said, once you have a number established for each size container, you can set that right to the number, and you won't overfill on your first shot while you're setting it up. In order to control the speed of your fill, you would adjust this flow control. This control adjusts the air coming out of the cylinder as the piston's going forward. So this will adjust the speed of the fill. This will adjust the speed of the retract. Clockwise slows it down, counterclockwise speeds it up. In order to remove the cylinders, the easiest way to do that is dump the air, crank to a large setting, remove your stop nuts, pull this back by hand, now you can unclamp your cylinder, take it off for cleaning. In order to remove the pallet for cleaning, lift that up out of the way. The pallet or valve rotor, we normally refer to it as a pallet. Usually most people in the field refer to it as a valve rotor. Slide that out. Now you have an O-ring here. You always want to check that for wear, as well as the O-rings in your piston heads. There's 2 on each piston head. That also should be checked when you're cleaning up. When you take this out, make sure you have your hand underneath it, because if you bump this at all and it raises a little high spot on it, there's only a couple thousandths clearance between the 2 surfaces, and it'll bind up if this gets banged or dented. And when you reassemble it, you usually coat it with a light coat of food grade lubricant, and then slide it back in, wiggle it a little bit to get your O-ring in there. Put your pin back in and you're ready to run. If you have any problems at all with the machine, give us a call. We can normally fix it over the phone. It's usually just a little air logic problem or glitch, and it's easily fixed over the phone.